Hey everybody, it's Brenda with Queen Bee RV. Dana with Empower RV is behind the camera today. We're back at the National RV Training Academy in Athens, Texas, and we're in the Big Red Schoolhouse. So I want to start by saying, bear with us because classes are going on and there's a little bit of noise like construction in the background. We're bringing you another episode of 52 Ways to Empower Women RVers, and today we're going to talk about one of the props that we're borrowing from the Big Red Schoolhouse, and this actually is one of the refrigerators that you would see in an RV. So some of us have a residential style refrigerator in the RV, but the majority of us probably have what this is, and it's the absorption style RV refrigerator. So let's talk about power sources first. It's typically both 120 volt AC and propane. And some of you guys will have control boards up here. We call this an eyebrow board or a belly board in between the doors. And then I'm going to show you there's ways that you can control the temperature. But if you have the type of control board that has an on-off button, and then it also has auto or propane. If you have it on auto, this is going to automatically be searching for 120 volts AC, and if it doesn't find it, it will automatically start the ignition process for propane. So just keep that in mind. Another important thing to know, these things have to be level. Your RV needs to be level. And it's because if you ever look at the back side of this, there's some cooling coils on the back that are kind of zigzag black metal rod coil things. I don't know what it's called. And they have chemicals inside that are causing the freezing and the cooling process to happen. And those coils are at a specific zigzag angle. And if they don't stay at that angle, the chemicals inside can't flow and properly, cool the fridge and the freezer. And you're going to eventually be damaging them. And it could be a really costly repair. It's not a cheap one. So keeping this baby level is super important. Okay, let's talk about the temperature. Controlling the temperature might be done with an eyebrow or belly board, or a lot of us might have these cool little metal fins in the back, and you may not have ever understood what they're about, but they're part of the cooling process. Sometimes you'll see a little sweat on them, but this is the thermostat. This little clip here is holding a little component called a thermistor. And you see this little sticker on the side. It says warmer at the bottom and colder at the top. And you move this little clip up and down to adjust your temperature. So your manufacturer, your manual will probably give you some guidance on where that needs to be, but you're going to adjust it whenever the temperatures, the ambient temperature outside, if there's a lot of humidity, you're going to end up adjusting it. These refrigerators don't have a fan to circulate air inside, so there's a couple of best practices that we can share with you as well. When you first put food into it, first of all, let's talk about this. Cool it down the night before. These things, they'll tell you 4 to 6 hours, but really overnight is best, if not 24 hours. So start cooling it down the night before. When you're ready to put food in it, don't bring the food straight from the store and start packing it in. Pre-cool it first. Cool it in your house refrigerator if you can. Don't put leftovers in here, whenever you finish the meal and they're still warm. Don't put warm food in either refrigerator or freezer. It just takes a lot of time to cool down, and then all of that cold air that's been built up in there is going to start sweating. It's going to take a long time to cool it back down. When you open this door every single time, you are allowing warm air in, and it takes a long time. It could take upwards of 2 hours to reach optimum temperature again. The seals on the doors of the fridge and the freezer, it's really important that these are not compromised. They teach us a little, we call it the dollar bill test here at school, where you can put a piece of paper or a dollar bill in here, slide it in here, and then slide with the door shut, slide it around the seals to make sure there's equal tension everywhere and that there's no gaps or anything inside there. Freezing weather, we were going to talk about that, right? So it is imperative also that when you're cold weather camping, if it gets down around the freezing mark, that you turn this thing off. It is not meant to operate in cold weather camping like that when it's around that freezing mark. It could damage it. This is one of the most costly appliances in the RV along with the air conditioner. So it's pretty easy and simple to use, but there are those best practices that we just shared. I hope that was helpful. If you like this content, give us a thumbs up, comment below, follow us on our social media channels, 52 Ways and Counting, and we'll see you next week on another episode.